This podcast was originally live-streamed on the Non Sequitur Show on YouTube. New episodes air weekdays, Monday through Friday, at 8 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/nonsequitorshow. Make sure you never miss a live stream by visiting www.nonsexshow.com/schedule. For the latest news, polls and updates throughout the day, follow us on Twitter @nonsexshow or facebook.com/nonsexshow. That's NONSEQ show. If you'd like to get exclusive content, bi-weekly private hangouts with Kyle and Steve, backstage access to chat with guests after shows hosted on your channel and much more, become a Patreon saint of Non Sequitur. It ensures we continue to improve our show and brings you into the process at the same time. Visit patreon.com/nonsequitur today while the limited spots are still available.
The following podcast is intended for those who believe bold ideas are righteous, unique perspectives are gospel, and strong opinions are sacred. This is Non Sequitur. Never follow. And now, here are your hosts, Kyle Curtis and Steve McRae.
Okay, so the point that you made before,
I'm the least biblically knowledgeable person here, so I can wrap my head around this. So if I can, everybody else listening can. I want to make sure that we're on the same page. Math in the Greek and all that does say, but the Aramaic says eagle, and you're saying that the eagles are supposed to be like the flock of Christ, right? Is that how I'm understanding it?
No.
Okay, no. So I'm way off. So can you help me maybe try to understand? In one version, it is all verbs. But in the Aramaic, it says eagle. What is the difference? Why are they saying eagle then?
Okay, eagle. So the context of what's occurring here, where the body will be where the eagles gather together. Okay,
who's the eagles?
The eagles are the national sigils of the United States and Mexico. The border region between the two countries is where the eagles gather.
Okay.
That's where Raymond Elwood Lear was located when the spiritual return of Christ occurred.
Clark, let me read you this, okay? This might help put things into perspective. For now, in verse 28, he is speaking in the context of the end of the Jewish state and the fall of Jerusalem, which we know happened in 70 AD. It will be a time of great distress. What Jesus is referring to is that the suffering of the Jews under the Roman attack, and particularly those of the inhabitants of Jerusalem during the Roman siege. Just as the presence of a dead body is known because of the vultures where they gather, so heavenly signs, verses 24 through 29, will be undoubted evidence of the corpse of the Jewish nation. The Jewish state with its temple worship will come to an end, and Jerusalem will itself be razed to the ground by the Roman eagle.
Okay, the Roman eagle... No, the Roman eagle no longer exists. Rome is no longer a kingdom. It does not exist. The sigil for the eagle doesn't apply to what is now the country of Italy. So right. I don't see how it applies. I don't see how any of these things so loosely interpreted can apply, because it doesn't apply to any of the verses around it either. It doesn't apply. It may apply.
You don't understand what this does, Clark.
Prophecy.
Clark. But this could very well have fit perfectly in 70 AD as the point of this article explaining this. Everything in that verse could have fit, just like you're saying it fits now. This could have fit perfectly in 70 AD.
No,
it would have been describing every.
I'll tell you how it's not. I'll tell you how it's not the same.
You say that, but you can't demonstrate that's not the case.
Let me demonstrate how it's not the same. Look at the verses around it. Did any of these things happen in 70 AD? Did lightning flash and go out from the east and peer onto the west? Did the Son of Man return in 70 AD? Did the sun darken? Did the moon not show its light? Did the stars fall from heaven and the powers of heaven disturbed? Did a sign of the Son of Man in heaven appear? Sure. Okay, it could have, but there's no evidence or anyone talking about how it occurred.
And that's the point. right? I think that's the
Yeah,
point.
I'm being sarcastic. But
it
we don't
did
know that
happen
the Son of Man. We don't know
over
the
the
Son of
past
Man
7
returned
years.
now. We don't know that the Son of Man returned now. Like
Yes, we do. We're
you
providing
can't-
you evidence to show that.
No,
We're
you're not.
providing you
You're
evidence
providing
to
me
show that.
anecdotes. You're providing me anecdotes and personal experiences that you've had. You're not providing me any evidence, though. I don't think that evidence means what you think it means.
You're looking at a piece of evidence on your screen. Christ's face appearing above the sun.
Come on,
There's a
come
piece of evidence
on,
right there.
Clark.
It's one of many.
This is okay. So he appears in pictures above the sun and talks through Madonna and Frozen. I mean, do you grasp the gravity
Twitter,
of how
yes.
ridiculous that? I mean, Clark, give me some hard evidence, please. Like I want you to change my mind right now, but so far this is just getting ridiculous almost. I mean, I have to be honest with you. Seeing his face in the sun and Madonna and Frozen, I mean, do you have any hard evidence, not anecdotes, that could be other things? I could see a horse in that picture that you're showing up on the screen right now. In no way do I see Lord Rayel at all in that picture.
I don't see where you're seeing a horse's face there, but there are.
Show
other
me where you're
pieces of
seeing
evidence.
Rayel. Where do you see Rayel in that picture?
On the left side of the image
either.
over the sun.
Yeah, are you familiar with the what's called pareidolia? Or pareidolia, depending on how you pronounce it. It's a type of aphrophenia. It's where you see faces and things because we have a visible biological history of seeing faces that when you see something like this, we have a pattern recognition for it.
Machu Picchu is a good example. You can see the it looks like one of the Incas that are lying there, the mountainscape. You're fitting what you want to where you want to fit it is what I'm seeing. Like I don't see anything independent of just it's like the do you think that people really saw the Virgin Mary in toast? Like, do you think that was real?
I am not familiar with that evidence.
There's a piece of toast
But at
that's
the same,
really famous.
There's a
at the
tortilla
same
with
time,
Jesus.
this is.
This is
All right.
what now?
So what I've done is I have requested the clergy to give more evidence on the topic of his control over the sun. I know we have it. I don't have it handy, but they're going to give it to me. So if you're patient, we can move forward to more Torah code evidence, but it's definitely not some piece of evidence that you could easily dismiss. We've already established that it's scientifically verifiable through peer review. Even if you don't choose to believe that peer review, it is there. We've already demonstrated that as well. Every piece of doubt. Every piece of
we don't agree with that.
Trigger everybody because that is not.
We don't
case.
agree with that.
Yeah, we don't agree with the fact that you're saying it's peer reviewed. There was one paper that had suggested such a thing, which again was in 1994, which was refuted 5 years later because they couldn't find anything that they even suggested that to be a valid case. So it has not been substantiated by peer review. So that is a demonstrably false statement, and we get very pendant on this show when people make claims like that and not able to substantiate it. When they say things like peer review, if it's just conjecture or just belief, that's one thing. But when you actually say it's been scientifically somehow confirmed or has been through a peer review process, that's an entirely different claim.
And I want to be clear. I don't believe any of the evidence that you've put forth so far. Like none of it. I'm still holding out that something will convince me. But everything that I've seen so far, I don't think adds up to what you think it adds up to. That's just my personal opinion. Maybe people watching see it differently. Maybe you've convinced some people out there watching, but nothing up until this point that I've seen. I will say yes, that could be evidence towards Rayel being the real deal.
All right, so there's a lot more proof, and there's a lot more proof of.
How are we?
Is it appropriate?
Sure, but I'm just curious. How are we looking at? Is you're considered to be evidential? I don't see any relationship between this face and the image being shown. It's if this is the best Jesus can do to show that, somehow in a NASA photo, there's a face controlling the sun. Do you honestly think that is that much evidential? Because I'm not seeing this to be evidential in any way, shape, or form personally, and I'm not trying to be disparaging or anything like that. But I like science. This would never be accepted as any kind of scientific evidence whatsoever. Not even in the case.
It's prophetic evidence. It's an image from NASA, so it's scientific evidence. It's an image taken by a publicly accepted source of scientific discovery. It's a fulfillment of a sign where it says, "There shall be signs in the sun." That actually did occur. There's also proof that over the past 7 years that the sun has been darkening. This has been happening ever since Lord Rayel returned. Now I'm seeking information from the clergy of Lord Rayel to provide me with some information so that we can prove to you that this has been occurring. And I've been given a video link here. The Mark video is, let's see here if I can load it.
While you're doing that,
the video title is Lord Rayel, Solar Flare, Israel, and the United Nations. The minute mark is at 6 minutes and 35 seconds. Now, if you search on YouTube, go ahead and search it on Google or YouTube, Lord Rayel, solar flare, that is the video.
Okay, we'll see if Dave can't find that. And Dr. Bowen, go ahead and ask why he finds that video.
No, I just want to make the comment, Clark. I applaud you honestly for coming on here. One, we're asking questions from a bunch of different fields, and it's I can't imagine how difficult it is to be able to respond, given that you're having to kind of rely on a side chat. I just wanted to say this. I understand it's a tough spot you're in, and I appreciate you doing it.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. And time while we're waiting for that video to queue up or for him to find it, there's also another piece of imagery that does indicate some correlation between the timing of his arrival and events that have been occurring when it comes to signs being fulfilled in regards to Lord Rayel. So that image is called Fireballs Data, and it's the only the graph that I've submitted about the number of fireballs in the USA since 2005, dating all the way up to 2015. And this is something that has been occurring ever since Lord Rayel said in his public address, "I will rain fire from the sky." And since that time, fireballs in the U.S. and their sightings have increased astronomically beyond anything that anyone's ever seen.
Before you go, let me talk to Dave. Dave, I sent you the link to that video that he's talking about in the in Facebook messages. So that's the video. And what time did you say to start it at, Clark?
The timing is at 6 minutes and 35 seconds, according to Bishop Michael Har.
Okay, so David's in the message, 6:35.
Thank you, brother.
Right, Steve.
So there's two things I can ask on that. First of all, one of the reasons we see more fireballs is because there's a lot more cameras out there. Cameras all the time on cars, especially in Russia. Everybody has a dash cam. So it's far more prevalent why we're capturing fireballs. And second of all, they're not on fire. What happens is you have ram pressure as you have an entry of a meteor that actually causes compression of the air. That compression of the air causes it to heat up and causes a plasma effect and causes ablation of the outside layer material on the meteor. That's why when a meteorite hits the ground, it's still cold. It's not on fire. It's ram pressure creating a plasma. So it's not even a fireball. It's a misnomer.
Okay, so when you see it, you interpret it as a fireball. Now,
but it's
what
not
you
on
see
fire.
is what you get.
But it's not fire. Just like
It's
the sun's not fire.
It's creating an intense heat, just like any fireball. Like, what are you gonna call it other than that?
But you
when
don't
it
have
comes
fire
to simple terminology.
The atmosphere, right? I mean,
But to be fair, they wouldn't know
not
that back then, I don't think.
Sure.
Dave, have you found that?
Yes, I have it, actually.
Okay. All right. Let's see what the solar flare's about. think he said 635.